Welcome to the Roller Coaster Ride of Parenting podcast. I'm Jenny.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Susanna. And we'll be your hosts as we discuss the highs and the lows of the parenting journey.
We'll be having conversations based on the content from Susanna's book, A Childcare Expert's Guide to Enjoying Your Parenting. Throughout her time as a childcare owner and operator, Susanna has encountered many overwhelmed parents, and she wrote this book to encourage and equip them to be the best parents they can be.
This podcast is an opportunity to share more tips and tricks around the challenges that parents face. It's our hope that through our shared knowledge, experiences, and conversations, we help you to better embrace your parenting and enjoy your roller coaster ride. Welcome back to the podcast. This week, we'll be discussing the importance of teaching our children the ideas of giving and thankfulness. We'll explore how to do this and the impact it has on who our children are becoming. As always, we'll be referring to Susanna's book to guide our conversation and use our personal experiences to encourage you on your parenting journey. Oh, this is a bit of a fun conversation, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
I think we often talk about like when you walk into Little Miracles, it's just such an environment, like from the staff to the kids, like everybody is really like either giving of their words or coming up with ways to kind of contribute. Like I remember when my kids were here, there was always something that they could be involved in. I don't know, Ben, like what do you think when you think about this space in Little Miracles?
Yeah, I think generosity, giving, thankfulness are part of the home away from home feel that we want to have, that it's a generous space. We want people to feel like they can be part of Little Miracles, like part of the centres, part of the family. But we have like 280 staff now. So even like using that word family, it feels like it's a little bit not inclusive. I don't have a family of 280, but to create a community, a place where you can be accepted, where you can be loved, where you can be treated with real value. And one of the ways we try to do that is by creating this generous culture and a culture where people are genuinely thankful to be around. And I was thinking about thankfulness, and one of the things I'm thankful for is the antlers that are up in our office right now. I'm pretty sure they're from your beautiful hubby. Aww. So like, are you just super thankful for like all the animal antlers that he brings home? You've mentioned before you love having them displayed proudly wherever he can, right?
I have to say, you know how we're opposites attract, and his love of antlers does not work for me. No, that's why I brought them to the center for you to have. Like if those never come back to my house, that's fine.
But you're from the South, in the States, where like hunting's a massive part of the culture. Isn't Jared just trying to make you feel at home with dead animals around the place?
That's why I married the city boy. Like I thought I was marrying the city boy, but I think he just wanted a country wife.
So you're not as thankful as like I would be, like having those antlers around proudly displayed, no?
But isn't it great that you have us as friends and then you can have them and then we don't need to? See, it's perfect. The little village is working.
Thank you. I do appreciate the antlers, bringing a bit of – because, I mean, it's a pretty female-dominated culture around here. So having the antlers just reminds me of a little bit of hunting, a little bit of, outdoorsy type stuff. So thanks, Jared.
You're welcome.
And thanks for bringing them in for us.
You're
I appreciate that. Yeah, Cool. No worries. So, Susanna, when we talk about this topic of thankfulness, generosity, it's a big deal like in our family and stuff as well. How did you try to create that atmosphere for us as kids where we would take on that attitude of thankfulness and generosity?
Well, I think one of the big ways to do it is, and then one of the big ways we did it was teaching you how to be thankful for each other as well, because I think giving comes out of a place of being thankful. You can't really give if you're not thankful for what you already have. And giving, people often think of giving as being material things or money or something like that, but giving is such an inclusive thing, and it involves, first and foremost, it's got to come from the heart. And so if we can teach our children, and look, all kids have to be taught this. I think some children are born naturally more generous than others. Definitely, that's just part of their DNA. However, I think everybody needs to be taught and encouraged in giving and growing in the giving. And it can start with very small things, with teaching them even how to share their toys. Or I know with you children that when you'd grown out of your toys, or we would then pass those toys on to other people. It wasn't uncommon for us, I guess, to be helping people who are less fortunate than us. There might be people that didn't have the income, and so we would help them out with meals or with clothing or different things like that. So I think as children, you caught it off us.
Yep.
To be generous with people outside the home, and then we had to teach you how to be generous within the home. And a lot of it does come down to just teaching your children to share and to be willing to give things up for somebody else who doesn't have as much. And how to it comes down to attitude, how to just be, I guess, giving in your kindness. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but we were very deliberate about it, because both your father and I love giving. We love being generous, and that's why we've taken it into the business of Little Miracles as well. It is a big part of Little Miracles, and that's why we love to be generous with our staff. That's why we have what we call, the days we take them all out.
Fun days.
Fun days. We give them fun days, the staff fun days, just to let them know that we appreciate them, we want to bless them. We have the Star Awards, where we're often giving out different awards for just being them. They don't have to even it's not like there's somebody for a month that gets the award. We always end up so that everybody gets an award, because we feel that everybody deserves to know that they are appreciated. And I think what it does is it just creates that atmosphere then. And so, yeah, and it spilled over into what we do with Bali Life over in Bali, helping underprivileged families and children over there, and what we've done in other places overseas, how we've had children that we've sponsored personally. It's also teaching children at home. And I think, Jenny, you were talking about some things, even in this COVID-19 environment that we're in at the moment, where your children and the children of your community were doing things.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, because I think a couple of weeks ago we were talking about like worry time and like what to do with the things that you're afraid of, and like really acknowledging that. But I think because we've all been home, we actually started the things you're really thankful for as well. So like the kids had their little Post-its of, they put the things they were worried about in the jar, but we put a wall just by the kitchen of just the Post-it notes of the things that they were thankful for, and just every day, because you have a lot more time. But it was really interesting, the things that they were thankful for. Were like they were thankful for their friends, and they were thankful that a meal got delivered, and they were thankful that they had an Xbox. Like just different things that they were really appreciative of. But then it was really interesting, that conversation. You know how you're saying like that thankfulness and generosity go hand in hand. But I think one day they were all super bored, and they went, oh, maybe we could walk around and see if anybody needs anything. So they got, and it was all of them. It wasn't one of them. And I thought that was the thing that was really cool.
When you say all of them, you mean the children from the community?
All the children from the community. So there's 12 of them from multiple families that always run around and kind of skateboard and bike, and they're just always together. But they went to one little boy's house and got a big wagon, and then they collected like boxes of cereal, some apples, somebody put some toys, a puzzle. Puzzles are prime real estate during COVID. Just the things that they had, it wasn't anything. We didn't go to the shops, but then they walked around, and it was really cute too, because they were saying, oh, COVID kindness, do you need anything? And because there's a whole group, I even thought Iz was really involved with it, and she's quite shy. So the fact that she watched them for the first couple of times, and then at the end she went up to doors and she's like, COVID kindness, I'm doing this. But I just thought, oh, they're learning from each other. And then often people are going, I was about to go get some bread, but now I've got it, but let me see what I have. So that it was weird. They left with one wagon full of stuff and they came back with a whole different wagon full of stuff that other people had contributed. So they're like, we can go again tomorrow. So I don't know. It was one of those things that I just thought it was just organic. It was just,
Beautiful.
I didn't prompt them. Nobody prompted them. They all came up with it together. But I thought, oh, and they were super proud. It's one of those things. They were super proud of what they had done together with what they had.
What ages were the kids, Jen, that were doing them?
So Iz is the youngest. She's 6, and they go up to 11.
Wow.
So year 5.
Oh, wow.
So Iz is kind of the one that's just like, running behind the pack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, Max
beautiful.
is 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while you're telling that, Jenny, I remembered the saying that's in my book on the chapter of giving back, and it's from Winston Churchill, and he says, "We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give."
Yeah.
And really, that's what your children were doing there. Yeah. They were not only making their life, but they were making the other people's lives as well. But they grew, like their little spirits grew. It sounds to me what you're saying, because they were so proud, their little spirits grew, which actually builds confidence in our children and helps to build resilience. And I think this is what a lot of the time we don't realise as young parents, that all these sort of things do build the child's confidence and their resilience, because the more confidence they have, the more resilience they have. And they get to know, wow, I can do this. And your children and the children in that neighbourhood, so many skills they learnt in that time of giving, like on how to trade, even because people were giving them things when they were giving things out to them. So they were learning negotiation skills, all sorts of skills that would have been building their confidence. Teamwork, so many things, all out of that place of thankfulness first, and then out of thankfulness, the giving. And I think that's what so many people don't realise, that when we give, we actually receive so much more than what we're giving.
I was going to say it is actually really, and I couldn't have even planned it, but because they started doing all the little COVID kindness stuff, and they were just like, it just kind of became this thing. It was quite cute, and different neighbors started like dropping little COVID kindness things on people's doorsteps. So it became like, a bunch of flowers or a little like thing of cupcakes. But one thing that was really lovely from Max was that he's been saving up like probably for about 6 months to get this bike that he's been wanting. So he was so like, I think he's got $60. So he's been saving, but it's a slow track. And he was anyway. And then this lady in the community, she posted on our Facebook group, and she said, "Oh, we've got this brand new bike that we brought over that our kids have just outgrown. Is there anybody who would like this bike?" And I just went, maybe. And she said, "Oh, tell him to come down and get it. We really wanted to." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was Max. That's awesome." Because he'd given her some cereal the week before. But for her, and he said, "I've been saving up." And he was so overwhelmed. Like, he was so above and beyond overwhelmed. And he said, "I've been saving. I only have $60. And she was like, "Oh, no, it's free. Like, we want you to have it." And he went, "What?" Like, he didn't have words. And she said, "You could use that $60 to buy a water bottle and a helmet. That would be awesome." So we went and took him to do that. But it was just this, you could see that like that. It wasn't doing things for other people, but it was doing things with our community.
Yeah.
So like they all kind of gained. And I don't know, it was just those little lessons that I couldn't have planned to teach him that lesson. If I could not have orchestrated it, but it was so beautiful.
That's so good.
Well, generosity builds connection.
Yeah.
So when the kids are going around actually handing out things and then even receiving things, it was building the connection with other people. And generosity is not about what we're going to get out of it, but actually when you are generous, when you are giving of yourself, other people then pour back into you. And while we don't do it for that reason, there's just a reality that that's what it creates. It creates an environment, a space where people want to connect, where people feel valued and therefore put that value back to you.
It actually really, I think generosity, we often, my mom, my grandmother, someone in my family used to say generosity makes a way. Like, it makes way for something. And I'm like, what does that mean? But I thought about it and I was like, oh, actually that being generous shifts something. Like, everybody was really upset about COVID. Like everybody's home, everybody's stressed, like they're financially worried. There's a lot going on. And that mom, she said to me, she was like, you know what? Like we could have sold this bike for a couple of $100.
They could have.
It was brand new. And we could have, but she said there was something about just so much negativity around. She said, we just got up that morning and went, we want to give it to someone.
Wow.
And she said, but a week or two later, she said, oh man, it's been so much better for us because every day we see the kids ride by their house and they're like, it's shifted something for them in this season. Good. I was like, oh, that's amazing. And it is, it's that relational, it's that beautiful, like much more than their like actual finance could have done.
Yeah. And that's the thing, giving isn't just about money.
No.
Or about things. It means so much more than that. And it builds our children's character. It really builds their character when we're teaching them how to give and the importance of giving, why to give. But I do think that children, same old story like I always say, they catch more than what they're taught. And when they see you being generous, they see for themselves the benefits that you receive from being generous. And that encourages them to give, and it becomes a lot more natural to them. But, you know, the people who I think who struggle with giving are usually people that are fearful that that there's going to be lack if they give. But what they don't realise is that actually there's more. You gain so much more.
You can even be generous with your words. Emily, who's producing the podcast today, getting a sly smile from behind the camera. So we've been doing some recording of a video for you and of the rest of the family for another project for Little Miracles. And I had all the camera gear at home and we recorded these videos of some interviews. And Tilly, my youngest, is too young to really be recorded for the interview, so she wanted to make a YouTube show. And so we recorded a couple of little things and we left it on the little card, and I was going to ask Emily if she could just edit it quickly for me. But even before I had a chance to, Emily goes, oh, I saw that thing of Tilly. I've edited it for you. And she added a couple of cool elements. And I was really blown away that Em did that for me and did it for Till. And so a couple of days later when Tilly rang me in the office, I went, let's say thank you to Emily. And I took the phone over to Emily and Tilly said thank you. And I think part of that is creating that environment where Tilly understands that actually what we do is we are generous with our words. I really believe in the you caught and taught stuff. I think just as valuable sometimes is to realise that I need to create an environment where my kids understand that thankfulness, that gratitude are a big deal. And when they're little, sometimes that's remind them, go say thank you. But when you do that enough, when you build that within them, I think then they start to understand that this is what we do. This is an important part of life, is to recognise the other people in my life and when they do things for me. And I like it when people say thank you to me. Like, who doesn't like being acknowledged for what they've done? I just think that's free. Words are free, right? But words are so powerful if we create that space where generosity of words is even. And I think I got that from you guys. We were always told to say our please and our thank yous. You guys are militant about it, but in a healthy, firm way. But then I did create that space, and Mick, my bro, your other son, he was saying how his son Joshy, a dad said to him, that's that kid that says thank you all the time, because Joshy, to this dad, it was unusual that I think Josh was like 6 at the time, was kept saying thank you for all these things. But it really stood out that this little boy would actually be really thankful. And I was like, that's awesome.
I want to encourage parents too, though, that are teaching their people to say their children to say please and thank you. And sometimes they go, when are you ever going to get it? When are they ever going to remember to say it? And I remember as a young parent feeling that, thinking, when are they ever going to remember to say please and thank you without me reminding them? But I just want to assure you they do. So keep hanging in there. If they're not saying it all the time, that's okay. Don't come down on them about it and get uptight and think that you're failing, because it's going in. It is going in. And as they get older, it will become automatic to them to be saying it. And it makes a huge difference in whatever environment or whatever relationship you're in, whether it be the workplace or husband and wife or parent and child or whatever. It makes a huge difference when there's an element of thankfulness within that relationship. Takes it to a whole new level and a whole new depth. And the children will get it if you're teaching them how to do it and they see you do it. But if you're teaching them to say please and thank you and you're not doing it yourselves, they will pick that up as well. So, yeah, just hang in there and they do get it in the end. And it's funny sometimes too, because I know when new children were smaller and people used to say to me, oh, I love their manners. And sometimes I think, well, I wish they'd use it at home. But, that's okay too, because actually in hindsight, I'd rather them use them outside home than inside home, because then, they know when they're out, they need to be on their best behaviour. So to me, it was always a bit of an indication that, well, maybe they will get it eventually when they're adults, you know what I mean? Because at least they remember when they're out to do it. Yeah. So, so just be encouraged. It doesn't have to happen all the time for it to be going in and penetrating.
It is really, I'm just thinking as we're chatting around, I think that's something you guys do, and it's probably something that's been passed down to the different generations. Like the grandkids are very thankful. They say thank you all the time. And I think about like Anna, your sister and your daughter. There's something that I've caught from her that she's so intentional about, but it's her gracious living drawer in her fridge that's full of cheese and crackers and things that she can just, anytime someone comes in, she's always got something ready that she can just have a spread, like have something ready for them. And we copied it. Like I have a gracious living drawer that's Anna's gracious living drawer. It's in my fridge now, and I'm like, oh, that's the thing, because that's such a good idea. But and her kids know about it. Like it's a thing they do. I think it came down from maybe Joel's side of the family.
Parents,
yeah, we're not that generous with food.
You're not generous with food. just
I just whip up whatever's there. But that's a great tool to have.
So what's in that drawer? What can you tell me what?
Okay, so mine, like she gave me the idea for it, but I always have like brie and like quince paste and like just delicious things that I can make a cheese board really easily. Okay. So it's always just in there and it's easy. So, like when you have those people who drop in and you kind of graze and you talk and it's just easy.
Cool.
So that's what it's just always there. It's extra. It can stay in the fridge for a couple of weeks and be fine. Yeah. It's probably added a few inches to my waistline. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what happens if you don't have visitors? Then you and Jared sit at the end of the 2 weeks and fill those little tummies of yours.
Yeah, maybe. So
win-win.
So we're more gracious and chubbier. It's good.
That's beautiful, though. I know it's my sister, but I had no idea she did that. But I think what's cool about that, Jen, is that you're deliberately creating space to be generous. Like it's intentional. It's not just off the cuff or when you get the opportunity. You're actually thinking about creating opportunities to be generous. That's beautiful.
Well, that's what I loved what Anna said. She's like, there's like you've got margin for people. Like you're ready, and like when the opportunity presents, like it doesn't have to be something that's planned, and it's just life happens. And I thought that was great, and I thought that's totally a Bateman thing.
And I think that sort of thing is really good too, because sometimes we think, if people come, we tend to think, oh, no, I've got nothing to give them, because we think we have to give them something spectacular. Yeah. But to have some simple things like that together to be able to just put out that helps, I think, your visitors then to feel comfortable then if you go to their place and they haven't got something spectacular to serve up to you. They know that you're going to be happy with simple things as well.
Totally. And I guess even reflecting, you're not much of a foodie, Mum, so that wouldn't have even really ever occurred to you.
No, it wouldn't have occurred to me at all. But when people come over, I always like to offer them a tea, coffee, or something to eat.
Bonox.
Yeah, but to deliberately have food there, Anna definitely didn't get that off me. But however, when people come, I do like to be over. It's become a little bit harder as Rob and I have got older, because he's so conscious of his weight that when you were younger, as kids, I always had plenty of things to be able to just whip out of the cupboard and give to people. But now we deliberately, I don't have chocolate biscuits in the house. I don't have the cheese in the house. I don't have this and that, because if I've got it there, he's going to want to eat it. And then he's like, what do you buy that stuff for? Because I'm trying to lose weight. So can you hide it for me so I can't see it? That sort of
Maybe you
thing.
need a fridge with like a lock that
I
only
do.
you know about.
I need somewhere where I can just hide it. But yes, it was much easier when we were younger to be able to just whip the food out. Now I have to be a lot more deliberate about having stuff there.
Oh, that's cool. No,
Seasons change.
Yeah, I was thinking for me, there is normally cheese and all that sort of stuff because Nell's really
She's
into
a
food.
foodie.
So, yeah, and her cheese board, I think that's kind of what you were talking about, is one of her favourite things to do for people. So she thinks of giving food. Like when people, like, I'm not a foodie, so I don't think, it's interesting, isn't it, that different people have different ways of being generous or providing for guests or others that are around.
It's kind of nice when it all comes together as well, like that you're not doing necessarily things for, but you're doing things with your community and with your, you create that generous community. So when we show up, like me and Anna will probably have the cheese board and you guys will be like encouraging the entire room.
Yes.
And but together it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Totally.
It was definitely a lot easier for me when I had the children because the pantry was always full, and particularly having 3 boys. And then, when they were teenagers, and they always had their mates around anyhow. So my pantry used to always be totally chockers with food. So it wasn't a problem at all when they were younger. But they just didn't get fancy stuff.
Yeah. I think you mentioned the boys or Anna's friends being around. I think that's one way you were really generous. As when I was a kid, and I've tried to replicate as an adult, is to actually be generous with our house, like trying to see our house as a resource, not just for my family, but for other people. And I really saw that growing up. You guys saw the house as something more than just for us as a family, but where you could, you included other families or my rat bag mates or whatever.
Yeah.
And, we would come each out of house and home and make trash a place, but you never complained, or like we had responsibilities around that. But I look back and realize how much that cost you guys, but you still chose it. And I know it was for me as a child, your child, but you had way more of our friends down than you needed to for me to feel loved or appreciate that. So, yeah, thank you for that. And I've tried to do the same thing with my own kids, for our place to be a space where other people can be and can feel included and loved. So
it's a bit like the grandchildren just turning up just now, ringing the doorbell and running up the stairs. And we can all hear them.
That was.
Yes, and we can all hear them running up the stairs. But when you say trash the place, let's clarify that. You didn't trash the place, as in trash it, but teenage boys do make messes.
Oh, like a whirlwind.
That's for sure.
It was like a whirlwind.
It was like a whirlwind.
Shoes
There'd be
everywhere and
dishes
dishes
clothes,
and bags.
that sort of stuff. Yeah,
But not
there was
trash
no
it as in
destruction.
destroy it. Yes.
Like
No,
the
there was no
walls were all still
destruction.
standing.
We cleaned that stuff up and we patched up whenever we needed to, so that you weren't aware if anything got broken.
So you trashed it with a healthy amount of fear that it would be fixed.
Yeah.
Or the wrath of mom would come.
Well, I think just appreciating that we wanted the boys over, so
Yeah.
didn't want to do anything dumb.
Yeah.
To some degree anyway. Yeah. So what advice would you give to any young mums out there? How can they go on a journey of being generous and creating a culture of generosity in their homes, do you think? Or the dads are out there too?
Well, I think it does start from that place of thankfulness. So I think it comes back to even doing like Jenny was doing with her family in the COVID virus and look at, what am I thankful for? So when you as a parent think about all the things that you're thankful for, and then start to teach your children, what are you thankful for? And it can be the most simple thing. I can remember, what's that lady that used to be on TV? Oprah, right? I can remember years ago she used to say how she would get up every morning and think about what she was grateful for, and how that it, particularly when she was in her really bad times. I mean, I haven't had a lot to do with watching Oprah or reading about Oprah, but I understand that she went through a lot of times of depression, and that's when she started doing it, and she found that it actually changed her whole world when she was doing that. And it does. When you are in a place of gratefulness and thankfulness, it changes your whole world. And so it sets the scene for you and your children to be in a position where you want to give, because you're so thankful for what you've got. And I also just want to encourage parents, it doesn't have to be big stuff. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. You'll be surprised once you start thinking about how grateful you are and your children start to think about how grateful they are. You'll see opportunities to give, and it might be time. It might be, like you're saying, having their friends over. It might be like Jenny and Anna are doing, and having that food set aside so that if people drop in, or it might be like we do ourselves and sponsor children overseas, or like Little Miracles and your father and I do with supporting children, other children like Bali Life overseas. It can be from something as big as that to something as small as what Jenny's children did and the children of the area, and just go around, get some things together and go around and go, what do you need?
Yeah.
But I also really do think that it's fabulous if you have the opportunity, but not everybody does, to find out where in your local area, like I know here on the Central Coast is a place called the Coast Shelter, where you can take children, where they can see people that are underprivileged in your own area, and maybe just be involved with serving them some food that particular night. You can get in contact with the people, or you could just be taking food, like canned food or whatever, get the children involved in that, and say we're going to take it along to the shelter. But I'm sure you can. Every area normally has something like that in the area. If you contact them, say, how can I'm trying to teach my children how to be thankful and how to give. What can we do as a family here? Is there anything from small or big we can do? And I'm sure they'll be thinking, and I think that really helps children also be thankful for what they've got and then learn how to give. So there's very simple things you can do.
Yeah, sweet. Thanks, Mum. So what have you taken away from today, Jen, that you would like to implement down the track? Or
I don't know. I think it is that the day-to-day stuff, like we're probably like there's 6 and 8 at the moment.
Yeah.
So like I think we do random acts of kindness and we do open doors, and that's very much the culture of our family. And it often does feel really small, like it's not that massive of a contribution in some respects. But then I think all of those little things do really build up to a generous children, and for them to feel, to have that empathy and all those things that you were saying. But I do think it's one of those things even to be really intentional about. Like I know we've often talked about, because Iz was in hospital a lot, and she'll often come back to the hospital in the afternoons and, help draw pictures for the nurses, or she'll do things. But we thought, like if it's something that's really affected them, exposing them to and seeing the bigger picture. So like I know that volunteering in the Ronald McDonald rooms at the hospital, and serving families when they're in hospital, and those spaces are things that we've thought about doing. So I think it is sometimes you kind of like, we probably need to go back and go, okay, what do we want to really intentionally do with this space, and kind of take the kids on that journey.
Yeah.
No, I love the drawer you have in your fridge, like the
Anna's Gracious Living Drawer.
Anna's Gracious
It's not
Living
ours;
Drawer.
it's Anna's Gracious Living Drawer.
You can own it, Jen.
No, I love that idea. Like, thank you so much for bringing that up. Just that reminder that it doesn't have to be something big; it can be something little. But I'm trying to think now how I can be more intentional. I don't love food, so I don't know if that'd be my thing, but I need to go home and
Probably
reflect.
better for your waistline. That's good.
My waistline could use some help too. So yes, so there we go. But no, thank you for that. Like I really appreciate that part of the conversation, and just have some space to think about being more generous with my kids and the world around me. Yeah, appreciate it. Well, we appreciate you guys being here listening to the podcast. If you want to check us out via our social media, our Facebook is Enjoying Parenting. On Instagram, you can catch us at Enjoy Parenting AU. And we just want to thank you for joining our conversation today, and to remember to enjoy your parenting roller coaster ride.